Your final score in game. Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this very exciting event we have here in the Shenandoah Valley of Virginia, at Lexington, at Virginia Military Institute. It is the 150th commemoration of the Battle of New Market, a battle of secondary size according to Civil War standards, but of prominent importance because of the role that the VMI cadets played. And this is our first simulcast of this event in the history of this event. We're delighted to be bringing this to you, to alumni, to parents, to friends of the Institute around the world over the World Wide Web. I'd like to introduce you to Cadet Brian Boyle, VMI class of 2015, who is joining me. He has other duties today. He will actually be the cadet narrator of the program that we have in store for you this afternoon. Mr. Boyle, at first I want to congratulate you. Yesterday, Mr. Boyle received the Francis Henny Smith Award for the most outstanding academic and leadership potential in the Corps. You can tell his academic accomplishments by the stars on his collar, and his leadership in the military by the insignia on his sleeves. Mr. Boyle, as a current cadet, what is the Battle of New Market's significance?
Well, New Market's really an interesting ceremony and event for me and all my roommates and the rest of the Corps. It's really about the legacy and the close bond that each class shares together. It's not about a parade about cadets currently. It's about parades. It's a parade about cadets throughout all time.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And how did you end up at the Institute?
Yeah, that's a funny question too. So I was kind of searching between a lot of colleges,
mm-hmm.
and I really wanted to join the military, and so
right.
I looked at a couple of different schools, and I ended up coming early to one of the sessions that they have where cadets come early, or prospective cadets come.
Yes, right. Yeah.
And I came and I stayed with a bunch of rats at the time, and the bond that they shared was really, really something.
Mm-hmm.
I treasured that, and I came and I found it. So.
And you'll graduate next year, and then what does the future hold for you? What are your plans?
Yes, sir. So I'm graduating next year in May 2015, and I plan on commissioning in the United States Army, and I would really like to branch armor, and I'll probably serve 4 years, and then after that I definitely want to switch into the reserves or into the National Guard, and then from then on maybe try and go get a graduate degree in law.
Right. Well, I know you have other duties that we'll be joining in on this afternoon. So thank you so much for taking a moment and introducing.
Definitely, sir.
Very good. Thanks. Well, that's very interesting to get a cadet's perspective of this annual event. Normally, it would be taking place outdoors on the VMI parade ground. Today, because of historical accuracy of the weather, it's taking place in the historic Jackson Memorial Hall here on the campus of Virginia Military Institute, a building named after one of our professors from the 1850s, Major Thomas Jonathan Jackson, who of course will leave in 1861 and become Stonewall as he's known today. But here in the beautiful Shenandoah Valley of Virginia, this date of May the 15th, 1864 was set aside to commemorate that first involvement of the cadets in the Battle of New Market, and is carried on annually on this day. Cadets take pause from their other duties and remember those cadets who fought in the battle. This commemoration is not just about what happened on May the 15th, 1864. It's also about what has happened in those subsequent generations of cadets who have taken the knowledge of this story of the Battle of New Market and how it's affected their lives in their service to the nation and state. I want to actually introduce you to someone else here in just a moment, a VMI graduate who has taken those experiences with him in his career as a citizen soldier, Don Wilkinson, VMI class of 61. Thanks for joining us, Don. Thank you. Graduating in 61, the nation was getting ready to commemorate the centennial of the Civil War in that year, 1961. And you have, so as an alumnus, looking back over that time, what does that experience of the cadet and the battle in New Market represent?
Well, I think the best thing to say is New Market really affirms, if you will, the values that have persistently underlay what VMI is all about. The ideas of loyalty, duty, honor, leadership, all those things you saw in New Market, but they're at the core of what VMI stands for, it seems to me. And that's what's so crucial.
I think that's right. You have, since 1961, have stayed very involved with the Institute.
Right.
We see you here in support of many different activities at VMI. But for those old alumni that don't have the chance to get back as often, what is your perception of how things have evolved over the last 50 years or so?
Well, in an extraordinary way, really. You know, if you come back to VMI, it's very commonly said, oh my God, VMI is one of those few places in the world that never changes. And of course, everybody says that in a good way.
Right, right.
And there's truth to that. But what you really have to think about, what are the differentiations between what changes and what doesn't? What doesn't change at VMI, which we just talked about, are the values. Duty, honor, integrity, country, service to your country. That's quite different about VMI from other institutions. What has changed, and what's remarkably changed, and why I urge everyone to come back and take a look and take a temperature, is if you look at the curriculum, the faculty, what the cadets are doing, you look at undergraduate research, you look at leadership programs, you look at what the cadets are doing in the summer, it just goes on and on. It's a remarkable place today, and again, that differentiating factor from almost every institution of higher learning in America is VMI not only is pursuing academic excellence, but it's also inculcating public service to the state and to the nation, which is quite different.
And part of the founding principles that Francis Henry Smith intended for the Institute 175 years ago.
Right.
Coincidentally, 2014 will be not only the 150th anniversary of the Battle of New Market that we commemorate today, but the 175th anniversary of the nation's first public school of the citizen soldier.
Right, and if I could, it's just really important to think about how it was created in a very practical way.
Yes.
To provide the needs of the state and the nation. And it continues to live up to that responsibility.
And I think every college has that challenge of preserving heritage and tradition in its culture, but then leaning forward into adopting the latest academic technologies and applications. And at VMI, that's been a hallmark, preserving those important things from the past, the legacy of one generation to another.
I just quickly mentioned undergraduate research, but I think VMI can claim that we may have the best undergraduate research program in the country.
Very strong.
It's very strong and quite different from what most colleges are doing.
Don, I very much appreciate you taking a moment and joining us. What you're about to experience here over the next few minutes is the recognition of that day, May the 15th, 1864. This event first started in 1866 when a small group of cadets traveled the 80 miles from Lexington to New Market, Virginia, where 5 of the 10 cadets who had been killed in the battle 2 years earlier were buried in that tiny little community of New Market. Those bodies were disinterred by those cadets and brought back here to the Institute, where they in fact remain today in the shadow of the allegorical statue Virginia mourning her dead. The statue itself, the artistic work of one of those cadets who had fought in the battle in 1864. Since 1866, that heritage has continued over generation after generation. We were asked about a year ago, what special plans did we have to commemorate the 150th anniversary? And we reflected on that, had several meetings on that, and determined there's nothing that needs to change. The experience that this cadet corps has should be the experience that generations of their predecessors have had. To stand here at VMI on this occasion and reflect on the service that those cadets provided, unexpected of them, tried beyond what normal expectation would have been, called out of their classrooms of VMI, marching 80 miles, being put in the center of an infantry assault across a wheat field on a rainy afternoon. No one expected them to perform the way they did, but since it has been the standard for all of us, subsequent generations of cadets. So the experience of today's corps reflects the experiences of those in the past. We're getting ready here in just a moment to actually begin the proceedings commemorating those cadets. There will be a honor firing of 21 rounds over the graves of those cadets and a wreath laying ceremony which you will witness. There's going to be a special award of the New Market Medal to a distinguished graduate of the Institute, and all of that will mark the 150th anniversary that you are able to join us through this linkage. Thank you so much for being a part of it.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Virginia Military Institute and to the New Market Ceremony, observed annually by the Corps of Cadets for over 141 years. On May 15th, 1864, the VMI Corps of Cadets, under the command of Lieutenant Colonel Scott Shipp, who would later become VMI's second superintendent, participated in a Civil War battle on the outskirts of New Market, Virginia. Their gallant charge turned the tide of the battle and earned honors for the Corps. It is the only time in history that an entire student body of a college has fought in a pitched battle. 10 cadets were killed and 47 others were wounded as a result of the action. On the anniversary of that historic event, the Corps of Cadets pays tribute to the New Market Cadets. Their service, a hallmark of the VMI heritage of leadership, courage, honor, and devotion to duty. Roll call will be taken in memory of the 10 cadets killed in action. Selected cadets in the Corps will respond with the name of the fallen cadet, followed by the report, "Died on the field of honor, sir." After the roll call, wreaths will be placed at the monument, Virginia Mourning Her Dead. A prayer will be offered by the VMI chaplain, Colonel James Park, and the firing party will fire a 3-volley salute, and taps will sound, followed by the playing of Amazing Grace. In this manner, the Corps pays its respects to the New Market Cadets and to all the Institute's alumni who have served and continue to serve their nation, and to all those who have died on the field of honor. On behalf of the Institute and the Corps of Cadets, thank you for joining us today on this important occasion. And now, please stand for the entrance of the official party. Mr. George P. Ramsey III, President of the VMI Board of Visitors, and General J.H. Binford P. III, VMI Superintendent, will now escort Mr. Bruce C. Gottwald, VMI Class of 1954, to the podium for the presentation of the New Market Medal. This year marks the 52nd anniversary of the establishment of the New Market Medal Award by the VMI Board of Visitors. The board approved the establishment of the New Market Medal as a commemorative award to be presented to an American citizen who displays the qualities of leadership, duty, honor, and devotion as exemplified by the Corps of Cadets at New Market. Those 4 words are inscribed on the New Market Medal. Mr. Bruce Cobb Gottwald, who is only the 14th recipient of the award, has had an extraordinary and nationally renowned business career, including being the Chief Executive Officer of the Ethel Corporation and Chairman of the New Market Corporation. He has been active his entire life in serving the community and the Commonwealth of Virginia as a member of the Board of Directors for the YMCA, St. Christopher's School, Virginia Commonwealth University School of Engineering, the American Civil War Center, and the Civil War Trust. Mr. Gottwald has been equally active in his lifelong support of the Institute as a 2-time member of the VMI Board of Visitors, serving as its president from 1998 to 2001. As a trustee of the VMI Foundation, as a member of the VMI Cadet Club Board of Governors with service as its president from 1971 to 1973, and as a founding member of the Jackson Hope Board of Overseers, serving on that board since 2001. He was recognized by the VMI Foundation in 2001 with a Distinguished Service Award, and in 2004, the VMI Cadet Club selected him to receive the Spirit Award. Mr. Ramsey will now present the New Market Medal. Mr. Ramsey.
The New Market Award was established by the Board of Visitors in 1962 to honor individuals who have displayed the virtues of the 1864 New Market Cadets, which are duty, honor, dedication, and leadership. And on behalf of the Board of Visitors, I can think of no other wonderful recipient and more deserving recipient than our 14th recipient over the 52-year history, Bruce Gottwald.
Well, General P. was kind enough to suggest maybe I speak to you for 3 minutes. So that's what you get. It is so nice to see Teddy Gottwald's brother Rats here, and so nice to see so many fourth-classmen volunteer to come. I hope that everybody has had the opportunity to see the Field of Lost Shoes. It is absolutely wonderful. The originator, producer, and writer of that wonderful show is here with us today. And Tom Farrell, I wish you would just stand. We'll see what a West Point cadet can do. My class just had its 60th reunion just a few weeks ago, and I can't believe we've been around that long, but we have. And we exercised the sole right every graduating class has had to take a good look at the Institute and see what they've changed. Well, things have changed at VMI. No one in the class of '54 could ever have imagined a semester overseas, or a summer at Morocco learning Arabian, or such other things as a group of engineers going to South America to install a water system for a village that doesn't have one. It doesn't stop there. It's a long list of things. You step on the post today, you see the new barracks, and you're tempted to think that's it. As our class learned, it's just one of all of the buildings that have been refurbished at VMI. We never could have conceived of cadets staying in the summertime and doing a personal research project under the guidance of a professor. As far as that goes, the notion of getting tutoring when we're having trouble from professors over time or from some bright cadets who could help you was totally foreign to us. And so if you ask a question today, have things changed at VMI? And they absolutely have. Or have they? While I was here, I went downstairs to the museum store, and I bought a little book there written by Colonel Keith, History of VMI in Pictures. And the first picture I turned to, of all things, was Colonel John Thomas Lewis Preston. Every cadet who's ever been to VMI recognizes his name. They've gone through the chore of having to memorize the inscription on the parapet, which you can see right out the window there. I thought about it for a while, and I thought, well, if Colonel Preston was here now, what would he write? And after thinking for a while, I don't believe he would have changed a single word. Every cadet or former cadet remembers at least part of the inscription on the parapet of a healthful and pleasant abode of a crowd of honorable youths, present up the hill of science, a gratifying spectacle, ready at all times of deepest peril to protect your state or to defend its honor. VMI is the same place the class of '54 graduated from, and yet it's a much better place that we can all be proud of. Thank you, General P. Thank you, Mr. Ramsey. Thank you to the Board of Visitors, and special thanks to the professors and staff, and especially to the Corps. You've never looked better. Thank you.
At this time, the New Market roll call and wreath-laying ceremony will begin. It is a military tradition to honor those who have given their lives in service to their country with a roll call.
Companies, center, march. Officers, halt. Center, face. Report. See the report. Corporal Admiral. report. Corporal, down field of honor, sir. Howdy Hayes, howdy Jefferson, howdy Dow, howdy Stanton, down field of honor, sir. Howdy Woodwright, down field of honor, sir. Sergeant Campbell, howdy Crockett, howdy Hartsfield, Ron Jones, down field of honor, sir. Sergeant Campbell, Corporal Lava, Private Crockett, Private Hartsfield, Private Hayes, Private Jefferson, Private Jones, Private McDowell, Private Standard, Private Wheelwright, died on the field of honor, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, a wreath is being laid on the statue of Virginia mourning her dead just outside J.M. Hall. In just a moment, the Corps Chaplain, Colonel James Park, will offer a prayer in remembrance. A firing detail will fire a 3-volley salute, and taps will be played in their honor. Please stand for the prayer, firing party, and taps.
Let us pray. Almighty God and Father of us all, it is good and right in your sight that we should gather here in Jackson Memorial Hall under the steadfast gaze of Virginia mourning her dead. We're joined by the spirit of the 261 men who marched from these barracks toward a destiny fashioned and shaped by you, a destiny whose influence would for generations touch the lives of VMI cadets. For it was during the darkness of the night that preceded the day of battle that these young cadets and their officers were awakened without drum or bugle sound to assume their place in the ranks. To this point, they had made only common sacrifice: sore feet from days of marching, loss of sleep due to miserable weather, discomfort and fatigue due to pouring rain and thick mud. Now they'd be called to make the uncommon sacrifice: the loss of youthful innocence, the loss of limb, the loss of life. A prayer offered by Captain Preston would send them into the fray, united, determined, resolved. In these moments as we pause here, they were under fire, moving, taking position, passing left and right of the Bush Hong house, fixing bayonets, waiting, rushing, taking canister fire, losing shoes, losing blood, losing friends, losing life, but not losing ground or heart or honor. Theirs was a day of complete victory, and by your grace, O God, the spirit of VMI was birthed in the sacrifice of the Corps in battle. The sweetness of their victory lingers for us today. Their sacrifice and the spirit by which they fought and died has produced for this institute a place in history, a place in our nation, and a place in our lives. On this day, from this ground, their blood cries out to us: uphold our honor, prepare for sacrifice. The voices of generations of VMI alumni who have lived honorably and died sacrificially join their sacred cry. Let the Institute be heard from again in your day. God, by your grace, grant their request. Amen.
Companies, present. Arms. Fire party. Fire 3 volleys.
Please take your seats. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes today's ceremony. At this time, we invite you to congratulate Mr. Gottwald on receiving the New Market Medal. On behalf of the Corps of Cadets, we would like to thank you for your attendance, and we hope you enjoy the rest of your visit to the Virginia Military Institute.
it's amazing. I think that you can see from this simple yet solemn and meaningful ceremony the impact that that moment 150 years ago has had on subsequent generations of VMI cadets, but really the state and nation as well. Some of those young men that fought there, I've always been amazed, for example, that 24 of them became doctors. Is there a relationship between their youthful experience on that battlefield and their desire to wish to address human suffering in their subsequent life? It's just amazing stories of those individuals who went on from that battlefield into taking their place as citizen soldiers in our democracy. I'm joined now by New York Times best-selling author Jeff Shera, who has come to be a part of this today. Now, I'm going to preface by saying Mr. Shera is not an alumnus of VMI, and one might wonder what his interest he might have in such an event as this. And that's the question I want to pose to Mr. Shera.
Well, I came here first 20 years ago now, researching a book I wrote called Gods and Generals. And at that time, I was totally unfamiliar with VMI, with the history, with the legacy here, the legacy of Stonewall Jackson, which is what I came here to research. You were very helpful in that. And that connection has lasted over the years. I've come back many times. There is a sense of history here. No, I'm not an alum. I'm not a graduate here. And yet I feel I'm a part of this because this is a part of our history, all of us. Anyone who has studied the Civil War, who understands what dignity and honor and what marching into battle, facing the guns of the enemy when the enemy is in fact each other. Those are the stories I try to tell. I've tried to tell with several of my books, and it always brings me back here. I wouldn't miss this.
This is the beginning of actually several days of commemorations of this battle for the 150th anniversary especially. Of course, this ceremony, at the moment it took place, the battle was at its crescendo at 2 p.m. on that rainy Sunday afternoon. So that is why this event always takes place at 2 p.m. on May the 15th. But this weekend, the annual commemoration, the oldest reenactment in the nation held on the original land, will be taking place commemorating the 150th anniversary there. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the 16th, 17th, and 18th, and Jeff Shera will be there those days speaking, and an opportunity to meet him and perhaps have discussion about some of those historical books and sign a few if you're able to come and visit the battlefield in New Market. I mentioned earlier that there were 12 cadets that left VMI just 4 days ago. They have now completed their journey to New Market. They were recreating, following the exact same path as their forebears, in the same type of wool clothing and the same type of ill-fitting shoes, that 80 miles that they've traversed. They are now on the battlefield themselves, and they will be there as a part of this weekend's ceremonies as well. It's an occurrence that VMI alumni around the world at this time historically gather in small groups and large groups around the country, wherever they might be. And they reflect on this occasion that is so meaningful to us here at VMI. They join us this time for the first time in a simulcast that we've been able to bring this event to them, wherever they might be. But looking forward to the next opportunity when your travels allow you to come to Lexington in the Shenandoah Valley, please come by and visit VMI. Thank you.